Welcome back to Chopping It Up with Lil Ron. Today I have a very special guest in the studio with me. This particular guest is original to everything, and he is a black author. He basically wrote his own book. I want to introduce you guys to the one and only Houston's own Bobby Brown. How you doing, Mr. Brown?
I'm good, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm glad to have you on the show as my guest. A little bit about Chopping It Up with Lil Ron. We always try to look out for entrepreneurs, people that's up and coming, people that have things that's going on. Things that's interesting is always a good thing for Chopping It Up with Lil Ron. But enough about the show. Let's talk about you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, sir.
Doing good. Okay, so tell me a little bit, give the people a little bit backstory about yourself, if you don't mind.
Well, a little bit about me. Just born here in Houston, in Fifth Ward area.
Okay.
There for a little short period of time. Then ended up in the country, living in the country for about 10 to 12 years. Then back to Houston.
Okay.
And from there, the north side of Houston been my life.
Okay.
Grew up, graduated from Aldine High School.
Okay.
So then from there, life just been a journey.
Okay. Well, I'm from Houston, my own self. I grew up on the north side, my own self. Not that north side. I was Tidwell in Mesa. So I went to like Kirby Middle School, Forest Brook High School for a certain period of time, Farmway Elementary. So I used to live in Verde Forest, but my grandmother, she actually stayed on North West Side. So I have a lot of people that I'm connected with on North West Side and stuff. So we kind of share the same backyard. We like basically almost right around the corner from each other. So tell me what drew me to you is, number one, you wrote a book.
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about your book and how you came up with the concept with your book?
Well, this book, I'm praying that it
Okay.
reaches someone that has, struggled throughout life. Just,
Okay.
The same as I've done.
Okay.
Sometimes we have this inner pain within us that we don't even realize that it's there.
You're
But
right.
we carry it for so long,
Hold on to it.
and it's almost like your last $2. You just can't let it go.
That's right.
But you hold on to it, but it causes more problems within you than it does good.
Okay.
So I found myself writing
Okay.
because I found myself in a position where I had to go back to being on my knees and praying to God because I was in a bad position at that point.
Yes, sir.
But I was still trying to do what I could to help other young men and young ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I had to figure out what was going on with me.
Okay.
And so listening to a lot of sermons and gospel music,
Mm-hmm.
and there was always an instance where there's a word that jumps out at me throughout
Yes.
this whole sermon. I can hear this whole hour and a half sermon
Mm-hmm.
of T.D. Jakes or anyone, and it'd be one word that jump out at me, and then I go to writing just off that one word because that one word identified me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote this, did those writing. I started sharing it with other ministers that I know.
Okay.
And, my spiritual mother told me, said, hey, you need to write a book. I'm like, no, not me. That ain't going to happen. I gave all the reasons why I couldn't do it and why I wouldn't do it.
And it's a lot of people, white, black, Chinese, whatever, they always are afraid to do something because they feel like they don't have the talent like a Maya Angelou. All the rest of these people that write books, they feel like I can't do what they do because I don't have the money. And it's not always about the money. It's about the resources, the networking to get you where you have to be. And some people, they don't understand that part.
That is also true. And I was one of those.
Wow.
I was one of those people that, I gave all the answers of why I couldn't do it
That's right.
until, I talked to one of my good friends who is a minister, a pastor herself.
Okay.
And she gave me all the reasons why I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
So she basically painted me in the corner, so to speak, to where I didn't have an out other than just, you know what, let's do it. And
That's
so,
correct.
she hooked me up with Miss Valencia Lee, and it just been, tremendous
Blooming from there.
lesson from there. Yes.
And that's a good thing. I actually have a book my own self that's coming out at the end of the year, I'm actually working on myself. And people don't understand our voices need to be heard. Our stories need to be told. We so quick to go buy other people's books and support other authors, but we don't support each other. And that's like a major drawback that I don't like with some people. They don't want to support each other. And you know, power is in books. Everybody's story is unique. Everybody's story is different. Nobody is the same. Your story will be different from my story. It will never be the same. Your story may reach hundreds of thousands of people. I hope it reach millions of people. They need to know about that book because that book can be somewhere down the line a book that's in the schools. Book can save somebody's life. Somebody that may be out there on their last dime and be like, hey man, I just want to give up on life. I'm just gonna do whatever. I don't care no more. And that can be that particular book. But this is another thing I want to ask. Before you even got into writing the book, what did you do prior to that?
Prior to that, police officer. And I've been a police officer. I've been a police officer for 16 years.
You know something? My grandfather actually was one of the first black police officers for Galena Park.
Wow.
Yes. He was. Leon Dickson, man. He was one of the very first ones. So, and believe it or not, I have a brother that followed behind in the footsteps, and I have an uncle that came in too. I pretty much probably have a little bit more family that's into law enforcement, but as far as I know, those are the people I know that's in law enforcement. And my sister-in-law is into law enforcement, and I have cousins that's in law enforcement. And I know y'all job is very, very hard, and people think that when you guys put on the uniform every day and you walk outside that you're going to come home to your family, not knowing you can kiss your wife, your kids, or your mom or dad, and you cannot come home the next day. And some people do not understand that. And they think just because I look at something on YouTube and on Facebook, every cop I approach is the same way. Just because this one cop do something bad to somebody, it's not the same where we are. And then they'll misjudge. You may have somebody that may have a minor traffic ticket, and you just trying to tell them, hey, man, you need to slow it down. And then you have to protect yourself because they trying to take your life. That's the world we live in now.
You know, it's crazy that you know, to hear you to walk the journey of your family that's been in law enforcement. Well, I'm the total opposite. You know, on my family structure, you're looking at the one and the only that ever been in law enforcement.
Wow.
You know, throughout my family, whether it's on my mother's side, whether it's on my father's side, I'm the only one that ever took a step into this arena. And so, doing so, you know, when I approach people and deal with people, and sometimes it works and sometimes it don't, but I always treat people with respect.
That's right.
You know, and you give them that respect, and a lot of times it de-escalates a whole lot before it even gets started.
That's correct.
You know, I would quick to stand there and look at you while you fussing and screaming at me, and I'm just going to stand there and look at you. I'm not going to indulge in it because it's only going to make it worse.
That's right.
When I'm only going to tell you, hey, you ran that stop sign, don't do it again, and keep it moving.
That's it. Yep. You know, you're right.
And so that's me, when dealing with the world and dealing with life itself, and that's part of the goal that's in this book is, you know, for people to see, hey, you have to be humble even when you're hurting.
And you know something? I actually have a cigar line. It's funny that you say that. My cigar line is called Humble 21. You have to be humble in order to smoke my cigar. And I wanted to name that because sometimes people in this world in general will make you explode, but sometimes you have to stay humble, especially with yourself. If you're humble with yourself, you can be humble with the world. And some people, they don't really understand that. Being an entrepreneur, going into that, was that very hard? Did you get intimidated going into doing that book?
Yes, very much so. You know, I was very much so. I'm not social media savvy. And so that was one of the things that I was really terrified on, because it's like, I don't like social media. I stay away from social media because being in this, being a law enforcement officer, you see how social media plays a part in so many negative things.
That's correct.
In people's lives, especially children.
That's correct.
And so I'm like, man, I don't want to have no parts of that. And that was one of the biggest things that I had to get over to help me even get to this point. And then from there, just just the idea of myself of doubting myself.
It's the social media is actually the new TV. I hate to say it, that it's actually new. How many people actually watch TV now? People don't really watch. They be on their phones. I'll even take you back even further. I'm 40 years old. I don't know how old you are, but I can tell you this. When is the last time as a family, if you went home, wife or mama cook food, and everybody sit at the table? They don't do that no more. Everybody's going in their room, playing on the game, TikTok, Instagram. Nobody actually sit at the table. When I was coming up, daddy come home from work. You leave that Nintendo alone, come in the living room, sit down at the table, eat your food. When you finish eating your food, you go in your room. Matter of fact, we had to wash dishes first before we go in the room. People, they don't do that no more. People, that's like it just went away, like it don't exist. That cell phone is the 24th thing. People like to debate and use that technology. People don't do sports no more. People barely do sports. And speaking of sports, I think used to run track. Am I correct?
Yes. My first love.
That's your first love, running
First love,
track.
track.
Track is good, man. Do you ever met? I think the guy was from, I think his name Carl Lewis or something like that. I remember it was a guy. He was real popular. I think his name was Carl Lewis.
Carl Lewis.
Did you ever get a chance to meet him? Because I know at one point in time he was like the man that everybody talked about so much.
Actually, I never had an opportunity to meet him, but he coaches over at U of H, which is right next door to TSU. And one day I'm hoping that I can actually get a chance, even just to shake his hand and say hi, because track is an individual sport.
You're right,
and what you make out of it is what's inside of you.
That's correct.
And so, and that's life is not an individual sport. You have the supporting cast.
That's right.
You just got to tap into it.
It's right. You're right. You're definitely right. Yep. So this is what I want to ask you. Everybody come on the show, I always ask them this question. Okay. It's very important to me. Dead or alive, tell me your top 5 artists that you listen to. It can be rap, R&B, gospel, whatever you want it to be. It can be jazz, it can be blues. The top 5.
Throughout my life?
Throughout your life. Just your top 5.
I would have to say Tupac.
Hey, I ain't trying to be funny. I have to stop you. Every time somebody come on the show, they do. Believe it or not, I am a die-hard Tupac fan. It's the reason why I like Tupac. People think I just like Tupac because he's a thug and he's supposed to be the gangster. I look at the message he gives. They say, man, I like Tupac, man. He go, do you get the message in the song? They don't understand when he say, even as a crack fiend, mama, he's telling you, man, my mama was a crack fiend. I love my mother. No matter what you say about my mama, she is going to be my mama. They don't look at that. They just look at, oh, man, Tupac, man, he just go hard, and man, that record, what is the message you got out of it? Everything he have told you from the beginning, from trap to the Brenda is still throwing babies in the trash can now. People don't understand that. She's still doing that. They don't understand. People out here, they don't give. Tupac been in incidents where he had to defend somebody and he had to take matters in his own hand and actually had to shoot at law enforcement. Not saying all cops are bad. That's why now we got cameras. So a lot of people can't get their story told, but the camera is going to tell the truth. It ain't going to lie to you. So I have to agree with you on Tupac. So that's a plus. So you're on my good side. So go ahead and tell me what your next one is.
Rance Allen, gospel singer.
Okay.
That guy, he will, he's no longer with us, okay. But he will give you his heart and soul.
Okay.
Through a song.
Okay.
Let's see who else. Fantasia was another.
I like her.
Another one. Then of course, I was Al Green because I grew up.
Yes.
I grew up. Al Green and BB. That was you couldn't find nothing else in my vehicle growing up. Even after I was out on my own, that's all I had was Al Green.
Man, Al Green is. I ain't gonna lie, man. That man, and I grew up, man. Some people go for love and happiness, but if you go through that man catalog, man, that man has a nice catalog. I cannot take that from Al Green, man. How can you mend a broken heart, man? I'm just telling you.
And Teddy Pendergrass.
TKO.
TKO.
Man, I can run that song back, man, over and over again, man. Yes, man. People they don't know music like that. They don't make it no more.
No.
The only thing we got close to that, every time we get an artist that try to stay focused, they get caught up with the culture and they shift off the opposite way. And then the new generation, I have to give them that credit. They support their artists. The older generation, they act like some of them don't want to support their artists, like Anita Baker. Like she just recently got on her masters. A lot of people don't know Prince wouldn't do a song with you if you did not own your masters. A lot of people don't know that. Anita Baker own her masters now. They belong to her. A lot of people, they just go out and do music and don't own their masters and stuff. And these companies are money vultures and they suck all that money up.
Wow.
But I need to know, can you tell the people how they can find you on social media?
Well, you can find me on Facebook.
Okay.
Bobby A. Brown. That's the only platform I'm on right now, but we'll be getting on others. I'm working on that.
Okay. Well,
So,
if you're not on there, I got a team. We'll help you get the Instagram that you need to get.
Yes, sir.
And we'll help you whatever you need to get along your way, because that's the way it's supposed to be. We supposed to help each other. I don't care about race. All I care about is helping people get to where they want to be. And that's the way it should be. And hopefully I can have you to come back on. Where can they buy the actual book?
So October the 5th is the projected release date.
Okay.
For this book. We got some couple things we need to fix.
Okay.
And then once we fix those, but definitely
by mid-October?
By mid-October.
Okay. Is it going to be on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. It's
okay.
It'll be on Amazon, but our goal is to make it to Barnes and Nobles.
Okay.
Target in those big areas. That's our goal.
Okay.
And God is going to bless it to make it to that.
Well,
and so
I'm not Barnes and Noble, but what I can tell you, I'm going to get with Rob and we're going to set something up. I would love for us to actually turn back around, even if I have to buy the donuts and buy the coffee. If you can come back inside of Rob's studio downstairs and we can do a book signing and we can get some people to come out and they can come do the book signing and we can do it here. So we know we're going to support you regardless. I know I'm going to be there regardless, and I know I'm going to get my people to come. And I would love to do that, to support you on your stuff. Like I say, law enforcement, doing your own. You're the first book writer I didn't have on this show so far. So I definitely want to turn back around and get with Rob and see if we can network and bring you in where you can do your own book signing and people can come out and meet you and talk to you face to face, and boom, there it is.
I appreciate it. And did you say donuts just because I'm a cop?
No, I didn't say no. Wait, I'm a Krispy Kreme man, so I don't really do coffee. They do coffee and stuff, so I like donuts. So I'm just saying, I'm not. Let's not get it twisted. I didn't say just because they law enforcement they gotta have donuts, they need the sugar inside. I didn't say that part. But hey, that's what it is. But until next time, always remember, anything is possible. Thank you guys for coming to the Choppin' Up with Lil Ron show. We out. Peace.